What's up guys, my name is Ace, and it looks like we might be seeing some SMG buffs coming in the not too distant future with Black Ops 4. Yesterday on Reddit, this post here started to gain some traction, and with this it said after 6 months the SMGs have to be the worst set of SMGs we've ever gotten in a COD game, and then he goes on to describe how the SMGs are simply outclassed most of the time by LMGs and assault rifles in this game. Now this is a fairly typical post, you see posts like this quite often. However, the important part about this is Tony Flame actually responded to this and said, if you feel this way, you might have a pleasant surprise coming soon. So this seems to indicate that we will likely be seeing some SMG buffs in the near future with Black Ops 4 multiplayer, or it could also just be hinting at the fact that we might be seeing an SMG with the next event that's coming, but I think it's more so to do with the balancing. Although if this is a balancing change, the timeline on that is going to be quite interesting because we do have CWL London coming on May 3rd, and they wouldn't want to be making any sort of big weapon balancing changes shortly before that event. So that leads me to believe that they're not going to do it on the Tuesday before the event, since weapon balancing changes typically come on Tuesdays, and therefore if it is a weapon balancing change, we will likely see it this coming Tuesday, or not until after the CWL London event. And that's all the new information that we have so far, but I did want to discuss, once again, what I feel should be done to the SMGs to make them a little bit better, and to make them fit a bit better into the meta when it comes to public matches for Black Ops 4, because after thinking about this a little bit, even though I don't think the weapon balance is terrible in this game's current state, I do feel like in most situations, I feel much more comfortable with an assault rifle in my hand, whether that be point blank or across the map. I feel much more comfortable with an assault rifle, and I don't really feel like I'm at a disadvantage versus an SMG when I'm at like really close ranges if I've got a KN57 or a Rampart with double high caliber, for instance, in my hands. On the other end of that, when I find myself at a mid to somewhat long range situation, we're not talking like across the map, but kind of a longer range situation where you start to stretch the SMG's effectiveness a little bit, the assault rifles have a huge advantage over the SMGs, and the SMGs are practically useless. So I feel like there's a little bit of balance missing out there where you're just fine with an assault rifle up close where the SMGs are supposed to be dominant, but then when you try to stretch an SMG to where the assault rifles are meant to be dominant, you've got no chance whatsoever. So this is an area that I think could be fine-tuned just a little bit. Like I said, I don't think that the balance is in a horrible state right now. I'm not like begging for changes to be made here, but if there are going to be some changes made, I did want to suggest a few things that I would like to see. Keep in mind, with all of these changes I'm suggesting, I'm looking more so at the console build of the game. These don't really apply to PC. I realize the SMGs play very different over there, so everything I'm talking about here is for console only. The first thing that I'd like to see that I think would improve the versatility of the SMGs a little bit without completely throwing balance out the window is simply eliminate their 9-shot kill range. I don't think it should ever take you 9 bullets to kill an enemy with an SMG. I don't care how far away they are. 9 shots to kill is ridiculous. And when you look at the actual statistical time to kill, assuming you're hitting every one of those 9 bullets, in a lot of these ranges, you're actually killing literally twice as slow as an assault rifle will be killing in that same range. Now, of course, I get the assault rifle should have the advantage and it should be killing faster in those longer ranges, but twice as fast, I think, is pushing it a little bit, especially when you consider the fact that in a lot of cases, those assault rifles are killing just as fast, if not faster, at point blank range as these SMGs as well. In addition to that, the way that SMGs have typically been kept in balance in previous Call of Duty games is with their recoil. The reason that they aren't as effective at longer ranges isn't necessarily that it takes them twice as many bullets to kill than assault rifles at those ranges. It's usually more so that it's much more difficult to hit those shots at longer ranges. So I think in the SMG's current state, at least on the console build of the game, if you were to eliminate that 9-shot kill range for all of the SMGs, it would make it so they're a little bit more viable at longer ranges without having any dominance whatsoever. They'd still have a very slow time to kill compared to the assault rifles, plus when you factor the recoil in, they'd still be not great at those ranges, but it would make them just a bit more versatile, and I'd feel a bit more comfortable with an SMG in my hand. So that's the one sort of big general change that would apply to all of the SMGs aside from the GKS, which doesn't have a 9-shot kill range in the first place. Although even with that, maybe I'd make it so the GKS doesn't have an 8-shot kill range and it'll be a 7-shot kill maximum, which would compensate for the fact that we're eliminating the 9-shot kill for all of the other SMGs. But now I want to get into each individual SMG, just share my thoughts and opinions on it in its current state, and whether or not I feel it deserves a change, and what kind of change I personally would make. Starting off with the MX-9, honestly, I think if you eliminated that 9-shot kill range, it would be fine. I think the MX9 is in a pretty good state currently. It's got a half-decent 5-shot kill range, and within that 5-shot kill range, it is quite dominant. I do feel very comfortable with an MX9 against most of the assault rifles at really close ranges, especially when you factor in the attachments you have access to on the MX9, like high caliber, which will reduce the number of shots it takes to kill if you can land a headshot, or rapid fire, which just straight up reduces your time to kill in general. So the MX9, like I said, I probably wouldn't even touch this with the exception of that general change of removing that 9-shot kill range. As for the GKS, this is a gun that I really feel needs some love, and I've been saying this a lot for many months now. However, the GKS is an extremely difficult gun to balance. And the reason behind this is since it's so accurate, and that's the role it's designed to fill, and we're not going to take it out of that role, you can't really give it a faster time to kill. It shouldn't be killing as fast as the other SMGs, otherwise it would instantly be overpowered. So keeping that in mind, if we're not going to be adjusting our rate of fire and we're not going to be adjusting our base time to kill, what other things could we do to the GKS? Well, the first thing is I would improve the aim down sight speed just a little bit, just to make it in line with the faster category of aiming down sight for SMGs at 200 milliseconds. Currently, it's around 220 milliseconds. Just speed it up that little bit. It would aim down sight roughly 1 frame faster, and this would make it a little bit snappier and a little bit better overall without making it completely broken. In addition to that, one thing I wouldn't mind seeing with the GKS is a better headshot multiplier, or at least a slightly better damage profile that would make it so that you're rewarded for hitting headshots with this gun, as long as you're not increasing that damage so much that it's reducing your base time to kill without headshots. So I think the simplest solution here is instead of having a 1.1 times standard headshot multiplier for the GKS, give it a headshot multiplier of 1.35. This would be the perfect number that would require you to hit 2 headshots mixed in with body shots in order to reduce the number of shots it takes to kill by 1 within your 5 and 6 shot kill range with the GKS. If you go any lower than that, then it's going to require like 3 or more headshots, which I think would be too much. If you go any higher than that, then you have the possibility in the 6-shot kill range of reducing the number of shots it takes to kill by 2, assuming you're hitting all headshots, which I think would be a little bit much. So I think that sweet spot would be a 1.35 times headshot multiplier. That would require you to hit 2 headshots, not just 1 lucky headshot, but 2 mixed in with body shots in order to reduce the number of shots it takes to kill, which I think would fit perfectly with the role of the GKS. It would require you to be accurate and precise with your shots, and if you aren't, then it's just the same sort of below average gun that it currently is. So that's my take on the GKS. Like I said, you have to be very careful with how you balance that. You can't just buff the damage overall and then expect it to be a balanced weapon, because it wouldn't be. But I do feel like making a change like that would be excellent for the GKS. Moving on to the next SMG, this is the Spitfire, and honestly, I think the Spitfire is in an okay place. I think that gun, it is quite dominant up close, as it should be as an SMG, and when you start stretching those ranges, due to the recoil, it's pretty difficult to control, and therefore that keeps it in check. So that's another SMG that I probably wouldn't touch in its current state. As for the Cordite, I have been liking the Cordite a lot more lately, since they did give it a little bit of a buff to its 5-shot kill range with one of the previous updates. So again, this is an SMG where if they eliminated that 9-shot kill range, I think it would be in a good place. Perhaps they could give it another small boost to its 5-shot kill range, but at the same time, I don't think it really needs that. It would just kind of be nice to have. This brings us to the SOG, and once again, I think the SOG is in a good place. I don't think you really want to touch that for competitive as well. That could really throw off their meta, so I would leave the SOG untouched with the exception of that removal of the 9-shot kill range. Same thing goes with the Daemon. I think the Daemon is quite good in its current state, especially due to the fact that you have some very good attachments with the Daemon, so I would leave that one untouched. And finally, this just leaves us with the Switchblade, and I'm very disappointed in the current state of the Switchblade. For those of you guys who have been around the channel for a while, you'll know that I'm not a big fan of that gun. I think it is one of the worst SMGs, and this is mainly due to the really strong horizontal recoil, which is really hard to control and predict. And also, you basically have to have rapid fire equipped on this just to get a slightly worse version of the SOG 9mm. So I think if they gave the Switchblade just a slight reduction to that horizontal recoil, it would definitely help it out just a little bit without making it overpowered. So that's pretty much it. Those are the things I would change with the SMGs. Honestly, I don't think too much needs to be done, just a few little tweaks here and there, although the one big change that I recommended by removing the 9-shot kill ranges with the SMGs, that is a fairly major change, but at the same time, honestly, I don't think that would strongly affect the meta of the game. It's not like you would be making the SMGs really dominant at longer ranges. You would just be giving them a bit of a chance that they currently don't have. But of course, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about the current state of balancing with SMGs in Black Ops 4 multiplayer? Do you think the SMGs in general are in a good place and don't need to be touched? Or do you think some changes need to be made? And if you do think some changes need to be made, which changes would you like to see? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.